All right, welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today, and it's going to be a good one, I think.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, this one's really cool because it's based on some stuff that you, the listener, sent in about Indian history,
Oh,
which is
nice.
something I don't know a ton about, so I was excited to get into it.
Well, let's uncover some of those hidden depths together then.
Exactly. That's what we're here for, Mush. And speaking of hidden depths, one question you guys sent in really stood out to me. It was about whether there could be a connection between, get this, Raja Chola I, this legendary South Indian king,
Okay.
and the mysterious Sentinel Islands.
That's a fascinating one. I mean, just the fact that we still don't have a definite account of how Raja Chola I died or where his tomb is. It's like a historical puzzle with a missing piece.
Yeah,
And then you bring in the Sentinel Islands, this place shrouded in secrecy. It definitely gets the imagination going.
totally. I mean, before we get too deep into that, can we back up a little bit?
Yeah.
For those of us who maybe slept through that history class,
Uh-huh.
who exactly was this Raja Chola I, and what made him such a big deal?
Well, he was a pretty significant ruler in South India. We're talking back in the 10th and 11th centuries. He's famous for having this really powerful navy, which let him expand his kingdom across the seas.
Wow.
Not to mention, he was a big fan of temple building. Some of his projects are still standing today. It's like they're these giant monuments to his reign. He's considered, one of the most crucial figures in the history of South India.
So, powerful, ambitious ruler. Huge impact.
Hmm.
Check. What about the Sentinel Islands, then? What makes them so mysterious?
Oh man, the Sentinel Islands, they're home to the Sentinelese people. And these folks have basically been isolated from the outside world for, well, centuries. It's one of those last truly untouched places on Earth, and they've fiercely resisted any contact from outsiders. We actually know very little about their culture, language, anything, really.
That is so wild to me. Like, in our world where everything feels so connected, there's still a place like that.
Yeah,
Really makes you realize how much we don't know, huh?
absolutely. And it's a good reminder that there's always something new to discover.
Speaking of discovering new
Hmm.
things, you also sent in a bunch of podcasts about Indian history.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, how do those tie into all of this? Like, what are they about?
Well, podcasts are such a cool way to explore history, They're super accessible, easy to listen to, and can make even complex topics pretty engaging. The ones you send in, they offer all sorts of different perspectives on Indian history and culture.
Right.
Some even dive into the mysteries surrounding figures like Raja Chola I, which we were just talking about.
Oh, awesome. Which ones were those? One that really caught my eye was India Unveiled.
Mm.
Can you tell me a little more about that one?
Oh, yeah. India Unveiled is great. They do a fantastic job of breaking down complicated historical events in a way that's really easy to understand.
Nice.
It's perfect for anyone new to Indian history, or even if you're already familiar with some of the stories, but, want a fresh perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they have a whole episode dedicated to the Chola dynasty and their adventures at sea, which might give some clues about those theories surrounding Raja Chola I and the Sentinel Islands.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. It's like having your own personal history teacher right in your pocket.
Exactly.
And you also mentioned Madhushla Manthan, which I thought was a really unique concept, like using poetry to uncover historical insights. How does that even work?
Right. So it focuses on the poetry of this renowned Indian poet, Harivansh Bakhan. He lived through a time of huge change in India. His work really reflects, I think, the social and political scene of that period.
Oh, interesting.
Madhushala Manthan takes his poems and analyzes them to give you a really vivid picture of what India was like back in the early 20th century.
So cool.
It's like a reminder that history isn't just about kings and battles and all that. It's about the everyday lives of regular people, too.
Yeah.
How they lived their lives, what they went through. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah, like a more personal and intimate view of history.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of podcasts in there, too, that focused on Tamil culture specifically, right? Deep Talks Tamil and Let's Talk History.
Yeah.
Why is it so important to explore, like, regional histories like that?
Well, Tamil culture is incredibly rich. It's got this history that goes back thousands of years. Its own language, literature, art forms, all sorts of traditions that are totally unique. And unfortunately, they often get left out of those more mainstream historical narratives.
Oh, I see.
These podcasts, they dive deep into this world. They tell the stories, highlight the figures, talk about the events that shape Tamil Nadu and its people. It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it makes you think about how much we miss when we only focus on the big picture, the dominant stories, right? There were so many untold stories,
Hmm.
hidden gems, just waiting to be discovered.
Exactly.
And it all comes back to that idea. There's always more to learn, more to question, more to uncover about the past, no matter how well we think we know it.
Couldn't agree more. And who knows, maybe somewhere in those hidden stories, we'll find the answer to that question about Raja Chola I and the Sentinel Islands.
Wouldn't that be something? Anyway, if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity even a little, we've got links to all the podcasts we talked about in the show notes. Don't forget to check them out. And remember, history isn't just a bunch of dates and names in a textbook. It's a story. And like any good story, there are always mysteries to solve and secrets waiting to be uncovered. So keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep listening.
Well said.
We'll see you next time
Until then,
for another deep dive.